This has been Breaking Overnight. Shout out to my boy. Shout out to my boy, Larry Reed Live. Let me just say that again. Shout out to my boy, Larry Reed Live. He dropped some serious ish last night. And if you don't know about Larry Reed Live, you need to go and check him out. Please go and subscribe to his channel. He is a friend, a good friend of the show. He is a really great dude, great heart, and hilarious as hell. Okay. And he always seems to have the exclusive. But we got to talk about this situation, and it's not good news, man. It's not good news, and it all revolves around Kerrion Franklin. Now, here's the thing. Let me explain something to you guys really quick. I've spoken about Kerrion Franklin in the past. Actually, I've spoken about his situation a lot, like a lot. Okay, and it was crazy because at a specific time, there was a moment where there were some serious accusations that came out, and where he was basically saying some things about his dad, Kirk Franklin. I got a photo of both of them together. So let me show y'all that. That's Kirk Franklin. Okay. GP. You know what I'm saying? Okay. God's property. You know, he's an incredibly talented musician. Kirk Franklin. Kerrion Franklin's father. Okay. Now, there's been a lot of BS, a lot of drama, a lot of tension between them. But Kerrion made some accusations about his father, which I'm not going to repeat. You can go check out those videos. Please do. But there was very surprising. Okay. Extremely surprising, salacious as hell. And we talked about it for a good minute. It was an ongoing story. It was an ongoing case. I mean, it wasn't like they filed anything, but it was an ongoing case that we, as a family at that time, were looking into. This was last year. I mean, it was like 8 months ago or something like that. This is crazy how quickly time flies. But anyway, during this time, he made some accusations about his father. And this went like crazy. Everybody in basically Black Twitter went ablaze. Everybody went nuts about this. The gospel world, the church world, all that went nuts because they're saying, what? Wait a second. Kirk Franklin did what to his son? So on and so forth. Like I said, I can't go any further. Okay? Can't go any further than that because we live in this weird world, in this bubble, in this platform. So if you want to check it out, go check out my videos covering Kerrion and Kirk Franklin. But there was an audio recording that came out with these accusations that literally came from Kerrion Franklin's mouth. So then all of a sudden, I get a hold of CJ. Now, CJ was the guy that was in the hostel that they were at, recording this whole thing that Kerrion was saying. And I guess they were all drunk and probably high. You know, they were influenced. Okay, they were heavily influenced on something. And I think it was more than just alcohol. But CJ was on. He talks about everything. You see if you go and see the interview, you're going to see some stuff. With me, my interview with CJ was quite telling. And it wasn't about the things that he was saying. It was about how he was. He came off a little off. He seemed a little under the influence as well, even at the 7 o'clock in the morning when we were doing this interview. But he was the one, nonetheless, that recorded Kerrion saying these things. So, obviously, jump forward a few months, CJ passes away. In fact, he died from an overdose, just so you know. He died a few months later, and that was a big shocking thing as well. People were like, what? I was thrown off. This young man, he's doing all these interviews. He's on my show. He's on the Armand Wiggins show. He's doing interviews with Larry Reed. He's telling his side of the story, which was which is why we all brought him on the platform, so we can get a better idea of what the hell was going on. Some people were speculating that maybe there was some sort of relationship going on between Kerrion and CJ, and so on and so on and so on. So let's move on, right? We already know about all that piece. I'm just giving you that information so that you can understand a little bit of the background of everything. So let's fast forward. Now, Kerrion Franklin's on this new show on Zeus called The Bad Boys Club. I guess it's a reboot of the Bad Girls Club, but a men's version of the Bad Girls Club show from back in the day. That has everybody from Kerrion Franklin to Anthony Caldwell. I think that's his first name is Anthony. I'm delivered. I don't love men's no more. I've been delivered. That dude. Okay. So they're all on this show together. And in this show, Kerrion comes out as bisexual. He identifies himself as bisexual. And of course, social media got a little surprised. Well, not surprised. I wasn't surprised, given the vibe I was getting from CJ in that interview and all that. I didn't put it out there like that, but it seemed like there was something else more going on. But anyway, people were very surprised about him coming out as bisexual. All right. So now we are here at this place. Kerrion was recently arrested. He was arrested yesterday. For what? We're going to get into it here. And I do have some clips from Larry Reed. Okay. Because he's the one who broke this story. I want to give him full credit. And like I said, you need to go and check out his channel because he's really, really great. He's very insightful, very well-spoken, and very funny, okay? He's entertaining is all get out. And I did an interview. I had an exclusive interview with him a few months back. Got to go in his home, hang out, do a sit-down interview with him as well. Larry Reed live. So please go check that interview as well. It's pretty amazing too. And he was really candid about a lot of stuff in his life. So check it out if you get some time, okay? But anyway, we got to get into this particular story here, okay? So, as we already know, Kerrion Franklin has been arrested allegedly for driving a unalive woman's car while carrying an illegal weapon, allegedly. This is the most insane thing I've ever heard. This is the most insane thing I've heard in a while, okay? Well, not really. I mean, I got a story about somebody like running over two men because they were defecating uncontrollably in their car. I'm not kidding. That is the wildest thing I've heard in a really long time. Literally, I'm going to be telling you that story here shortly. But still, this part is very strange to me. That this celebrity, this celebrity of a son, has been allegedly arrested. He's saying he was wrongfully arrested. But he was arrested driving the car of a woman that's no longer on this planet anymore. A woman that crossed over. So now he's saying he was wrongfully arrested and he's being accused of allegedly committing the act of unaliving somebody. Let's get into this article. Like I said, I got the clip from Larry Reed, and you need to hear it from him yourself. You'll believe it from him, not me, okay? And of course, this is all alleged, but the stuff is coming out. There are police records and all of that we are going to look at too, that show proof positive that he is really locked up right now in LA without bail. He's about to be sent to Texas because of this particular act. It's very weird. But let's look at this article really quick. Singer Kirk Franklin's son, Kerrion, is being held in Los Angeles County Jail without bond after being taken into custody on Sunday. According to the court records obtained by Radar, 33-year-old Kerrion Rashad Franklin was arrested at 7:36 a.m. after being pulled over by the Beverly Hills Police. He was booked into jail at 10:28 a.m. Alleged details of what happened have been making rounds on social media. Larry Reed Live says they spoke to Kerrion from jail, who said he was quote unquote wrongfully arrested and stopped because of his tail light. Kerrion claims he can't get out of jail until Tuesday, which is when his next hearing is. He told the head of the outlet that the police allegedly found a weapon or a gun in the car. He claims that gun is not his, by the way. Now, I don't know if he was riding alone. That's one thing I don't know. We don't know if he was riding alone or if he was riding, solo dolo. But he says that he claims the gun, it was not his. Let's just say that too. The Zeus television star allegedly told the host that he was also charged with resisting arrest, which he denied. So right now, Kerrion is denying everything he's saying. Everything is just alleged. Again, all of this ish is just alleged. Okay. Kerrion reportedly has to be extradited back to Texas to deal with a separate case. Kerrion is currently starring on the Zeus Network show Bad Boys Los Angeles. On the show, he opened up about his struggles he faced dealing with his family after coming out as a gay man. Kerrion was arrested while driving after a Beverly Hills police officer stopped him for a broken taillight. When they searched the car, they had discovered an illegal pistol. Now, what gets crazy, after discovering the weapon, that's when the police took him in for questioning. Franklin says the pistol doesn't belong to him. It was also discovered that the car he was driving didn't even belong to him either, but to a missing woman who is rumored to be that word. Okay. Just saying. There have been no confirmations on this from cops or any other outlets, so take it with a grain of salt right now, but we will find out soon if it is true. Okay. So, I have some video as well. I also have some other stuff, the video from Larry Reed himself saying this stuff. Because here's the thing, I'm gonna say this: Larry Reed is not the type. I'm just gonna say this in defense of Larry Reed. He's not the type that's just gonna come out here and just say anything. You see what I'm saying? No offense, he doesn't have Tasha K kind of vibes. He just doesn't have that vibe. He has that vibe of, I only come to you with the facts. I only come to you with the news. I only come to you with the information. But there is more information out here that shows proof positive that he really has been arrested, and he is really going to be extradited to Texas for this missing unalive woman in which the car was under her name. A missing and to be known or to be assumed no longer alive woman. That was the car he was driving with an illegal firearm. Like I said, this is weird, y'all. This is a weird case. Very, very weird. So, it doesn't look good. This whole situation does not look good at all for anyone. I mean, or at least for him. Sorry. So, let's look into this because we got Mo. We got Mo for you. We got Mo. So I got a little clip from Larry Reed himself. Because he says even with him, like I said, he is not the type to just make ish up. He just is not. He just isn't. So I believe this man. And also it's because I've seen other things too. But we're going to get into in a second. But as he starts to tell his story, he's saying that they're tight. That Kerrion and Larry Reed, they're good. They're friends. They're friendly. He has an understanding for Kerrion. Kerrion confides in him a lot. Apparently, he spoke with Kerrion. And then everything starts to unravel. Let's take a listen.
This is what he told me. He told me that he was wrongfully arrested and he was stopped because of his tail light. Mm-hmm. So when they did that, he said that they're putting other charges. This is what he said, that they're putting other charges on him. And now they have locked them up and something about he can't get out to Tuesday. So it was a very quick phone call. And I said, calm down, Kerrion, until we can get you out. And so when I began to look into getting him out, I began to run into some other things.
Okay, so he reached out to him. Kerrion got in contact with Larry Reed, and he said, hey, man, they've arrested me for no reason. Everything that they're saying is alleged. Everything that they're saying is a lie. It's all cap, y'all. Just so you know. He's like, help me get out, man. I need to get out of here. Larry's like, all right, man, I'm going to do whatever I can because that's the kind of stand-up dude Larry is. Just letting you know. And then it gets crazy.
When I look, they arrested him because of some charges in Texas. Mm-hmm. And the charges in Texas, there's no bond for. But as they begin to deal with Kerrion, now you watch Bad Boy Club, so you know how that can go. And you also have heard the audio between him and his dad. You know, both of them pop offish. And so in that exchange, there was an altercation with the cops.
So all this stuff goes down. And what Larry's saying right here is not wrong. If you hear the conversations, if you hear the recordings between Kerrion and Kirk, I mean, maybe I was raised different, but it is not a back and forth that a father and son would normally have. So you could see that there's a lot of anger and there's a lot of passion, and you know, Kerrion does come off like a very passionate man, right? An emotionally passionate man. That's the vibe I get from him, with all due respect. I'm not trying to talk ish on Kerrion or Kirk, but you could tell that their vibe is very much different than I'd say than I guess from any other father and son type of vibe. And given the fact that they're very passionate, you know, and they're short wick type of people, okay, I wouldn't be surprised if Kerrion got very upset when the cops tried to arrest him for this illegal firearm and whatnot. God knows what they did. Maybe they did a deep dive. I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, if he was starting to fight back just a tiny bit. I wouldn't.
They're now calling it resisting arrest.
Yep.
So that's another charge. And then they began to search his car. Stop for the tail light, allegedly. But I got to tell you something else that I'm finding out with that. And they searched the car, and then they found a gun, allegedly. Now,
so far, I'm sorry for breaking it up so much, but I have to. You know how it is. But let me say this. Was there anybody else in the car? That's one of the main questions I want to ask. Was there anybody else in the car? Because if they found a gun in the car, could that have been somebody else's gun? But so far, it sounds like he was riding solo dolo so far. He was riding by his damn self, it sounds like. Doesn't sound like he was with anybody else. Because that person, if I would instantly go, if If he's not claiming that that's his gun, then maybe it's the person that was riding with him, that maybe that's his gun. You see what I'm saying? But it sounds like he was riding by himself. Now, the other thing, though, too, you got to put into consideration here as well, is that the car that he had is not even his to begin with. It's a missing woman who is allegedly no longer here. That's her car, right? That is her car. Could it be her piece, maybe, that he didn't know was in her car? Like I said, the questions start to unravel and it starts to become one big old avalanche of just like, what? The entire time. But let's continue. I'm sorry. I know you want to hear the end of this, but this thing keeps unraveling and getting stranger and stranger. Okay. And to me, yes, live and learn. I do think, like, if we cut to the chase, I think he got caught. I think he straight up got caught. And now he's locked up because he did something very, very bad, allegedly.
Now, Kerrion told me on the phone that they're trying to slap 2 other charges on him just because, and that the charges were not true.
Okay.
So Kerrion is saying he did not, if I take the one he said, he did not resist arrest, and that there was no gun that they found that was his.
Okay. So, sorry. Okay. I'm going to be the elephant in the room, okay? Or I'm going to address the elephant in the room. What am I saying? The elephant. Okay. I'm going to just do this real quick. Let's just nip this in the bud. Shout out to Larry Reed for giving us this information. It's not great news. Let's be real. But at the same time, there are still a lot of people that think that Kerrion is a full-on bold-faced liar. I'm sorry for saying it, but I'm going to say it right off the top, right off the rip, because there were accusations that he made towards his father, that his father had to go on Tamron Hall. I think it was like the very next day almost, apologize and basically say what my son is saying is not true. What my son is saying is not true. I love my son, but that is not true. So then you got this. Boom. To me, it doesn't feel like, I feel like I want to pray for Kerrion. And because I do think that some things, I think he is working through a lot of different things. I think he is emotionally unbalanced. I think he's mentally unhealthy. And I just want him to find peace within himself, that inner peace and that mental balance. But that still doesn't deter away from the fact that he could possibly be someone who took someone's life. And now he is talking to, say, Larry Reed and lying through his teeth. We have to play that other side of the fence, unfortunately, because we can easily go, oh, man, this is so bad for Kerrion. I hope and pray he's going to be okay. Man, we need to stand for him and all that stuff. Sure, but people out here do still think that he made those stories up about his father for clout. On God, y'all. There are people out here that still think that he lied about that. And it hasn't been confirmed or denied. No one has debunked it or confirmed it. It is still up in the air. People are still wondering if his accusations about what his father did to him as a kid is true or not. And then you got him here talking to Larry Reed being like, oh, I didn't resist arrest. And that gun, it wasn't even my gun. They planted it on me. So on and so forth. Do you see what I'm seeing? Do you see the pattern? If we're looking on that side of the fence, there's a pattern here. Doesn't it seem a little strange? You never know. Maybe he didn't know he had the gun. True. But then there's also the idea that maybe he did know that he had the gun and he's just fibbing right now. And he's trying to finesse his way out of the situation. And also, he's forgetting about the charges that are going on in Texas. Let's take a listen.
So I'm assuming that he's alleging that the gun was planted. So then I found out that there basically was no way for us to really get him, at least not right now. I haven't discovered one, because they have to extradite him to Texas.
Why, Larry? Why, baby? Please tell me why, Larry.
Someone calls me because of my post. So then they begin to tell me how he had been questioned for a murder. So now wait a minute.
Yeah. So he was questioned for a muerte. Okay. There is more on another clip I'm gonna pull up here too, because he says more, and it just blows my mind. It blows my mind.
I'm here for that.
I'm here for it too. And if you're here for it, do not forget to hit that like button down below. Send those likes past 200 likes really quick. I appreciate all y'all for being on the conversation with me and all that. I got to jump over to Larry Reed's IG real quick to get the rest of this video. Because yeah, this whole thing is mind-blowing to me. Just mind-blowing. All right. But let's take a look at this.
At least not right now. I haven't discovered one, because they have to extradite him to Texas.
There we go.
Someone calls me because of my post. So then they begin to tell me how he had been questioned for a murder. So now wait a minute. A murder. So the first thing I thought about was CJ. Because see, Kerrion and CJ, he was upset because of the accusation that he was alleging that Kerrion was making against his father that was so hideous that I will not even repeat on this platform. And then he does up and dead.
Yeah, CJ did die a few weeks or a few months later due to an overdose.
So I'm like, wait a minute, let me call them. And so it's not about his death, because that was an overdose. So Kerrion was being questioned about another murder of a female. And I said, okay, well, he told me that the brake light, whatever, was out, and that's why they stopped him. They said, that may not be the reason why they stopped him, because he's driving the car of the murdered victim.
Blammo. I'm going to roll that back one more time so that you guys can hear that all the way in the nosebleed seats. One more again. What did you say?
So it's not about his death, because that was an overdose. So Kerrion was being questioned about another murder of a female. And I said, okay, well, he told me that the brake light, whatever, was out, and that's why they stopped him. They said, that may not be the reason why they stopped him, because he's driving the car of the murdered victim.
So, who does that, though? I'm just curious. I'm asking for a friend. Who does that, though? Real talk. Who goes? Who goes? Who does that? I'm sorry. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around this. Who goes and drives the car of the victim that you just, of a missing woman? Whether she has been unalived or not. She was missing. She's a missing woman. We don't have any other details about her. What her name is and all that stuff. She might be, I don't know. All we know is that, and then some people are speculating that she's a black woman. But we don't know anything. All we know is that there is a woman out here that's missing, that's allegedly no longer here, allegedly unalived. And he might be someone with the most important information, or might be the one who took that woman's life. Why would you drive around in a car owned by a missing woman? I'm just asking that for the nosebleed seats and for the family that are watching right now. I appreciate all y'all for being in here. But why? Don't worry, I'll wait. Now, Truth Speak just said something. I'm gonna put that up here real quick. Be careful whose car you borrow. Just saying. Well, so you're telling me that he was riding around and getting it by borrowing a friend's car that happened to be the person linked to this missing, aka maybe unalive woman? That seems weird. Now, I understand that he's not the richest man in the world. I get that. He's independent. He's, living off his own means and what he makes and all that. They made that abundantly clear a few months ago or last year when we talked about the whole Kirk Franklin Kerrion debacle. But why would anyone then also on top of that, it's like, okay, then you go and you take even if he was to go and just buy, some clunker at a used car lot, okay, whether it's a clunker or not, I don't know. Whether or not there's still a weapon in that car. And for him to sit there and say, it ain't mine, still very strange to me. Still very strange to me because the gun still has to show up in the car somehow, unless they are dirty, dirty cops, right? And they plant that ish. But outside of that, he's still driving a car that was owned by a woman that was recently missing and is now pronounced, I guess, dead. Somebody make that make sense for me. Sure, he could have borrowed a friend's car, but then I feel like that's a piece of information that would have come out, right? I was borrowing a car from a friend of mine. He hooked me up. You feel me? Blah, blah, blah. All these different things, right? But no. So strange, y'all. But yes, he is literally being. Yeah, he has literally been detained. These are some police records right here, as you can see. And I mean, obviously, the plot just continues to thicken. But allegedly, the car that he was driving was somebody else's ride that happens to be missing, or I guess now unalive. I just don't get it. I personally just don't get it. But I understand that this young man, in my personal opinion, is not fully okay. He's dealing with a lot of mental health. And all I can sit here and say is that I'm praying for him, and I'm hoping that he comes out of this on better. Obviously, I hope we find out who this person is, who this victim is, what this woman's name, like what the story is. But according to Larry Reed, and of course this, a lot of other channels and a lot of other places are starting to talk about this. Allegedly, he's going to be extradited, most likely today, to Texas to deal with this situation. To deal with this whole situation. And yes, he would Truth Speak. He was on that show, or he's on that Bad Boys Club and all that. I mean, and I don't know how much money they make off that ish. But he was on that show at least to make some money and to, get his name out there. But yeah, I hope this is just one big ass misunderstanding. I really do. I hope it is. Yeah. Yeah. Live and learn. Yeah. There is the death sentence for sure. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see. You know. But like I said, I'm sure Larry Reed will be coming out with more information about this. Of course, please go over and, follow him or, subscribe to his channel. Dude is really, really great. Very well informed and heavily connected in that world. And he's, he knows Kerrion very well. So hopefully we'll get more information from them, or more of the truth will come out. And if this is just some like bad rumor mill type situation, which I do not think it is, because I trust Larry Reed as a reliable source. Real talk, I really do. But if this is not fully true, then we will be back on here to be like, yo, this was not fully true. This was just speculation, or this was a rumor type thing. But at least you guys got to know the information right now, so that when it does drop, when more information does drop, it's not one big ass surprise. But I would like to know, who's the woman? Whose gun was that? Was that really his? He just owned it illegally, right? What happened to the girl? What happened to this woman? Why is she suddenly missing? And why do you have possession of the car? If you have nothing to do with the disappearance or the unaliving of this woman, then why do you have possession of her car? Straight up. Answer that real quick. If you can answer that and you have proof, you just happen to be connected to someone that actually had this car and they gave it to you because maybe they just wanted to get rid of evidence, then I got you. Still doesn't work for me, but hey, if you got proof that will vindicate you from this situation, then I'm with you 100%. I'm with you 110%. But we will see what's going on as time progresses and as time goes on with this story. And I promise you, we will be talking about it even more when we get closer to when we get more information. This is a sad story. And I would hate for this to be the start of his fall from grace. You see what I'm saying? I was hoping that he would be able to bounce back and be a little bit better and find tonight a family friend and find some happiness. You know what I mean? Some inner peace. So we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? I'm praying for the dude. Real talk. I just feel like he's dealing with a lot of demons, and hopefully he gets the proper counseling and the proper help he really does need.
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.